Again, we thank you all for being here. We thank Steiner Sports for being part of this and actually putting it all together. And I know that today, when you guys are back in the office or driving home, you'll be listening at 3 o'clock to the Michael K. Show on 98.7 ESPN, right? Thank you. All right, enough about me. Now let's talk about our guest of honor. This is his first year managing anywhere. And I think he's done an extraordinary job. He has his team right there, ready to make a move. Obviously, a team that's outstanding offensively. Has struggled of late, last 16 games, 8-8. But remember, they were 9-9 at the beginning of the year. Then they won 17 of their next 18 games. So this team has that capability. And they also just had a great acquisition, which we'll talk to this gentleman about. He's really one of the nicest people I've ever met in sports. That's how good a guy he is. And he does a great job at what he does. He's the manager of the New York Yankees, Aaron Boone, ladies and gentlemen.
Nicest I've ever met in sports.
I said one of the nicest.
He doesn't know me that well.
Well, while you have it, you might as well run with it. How you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah? Let's talk about this team. 8-8. Are you a little concerned? The hitting's kind of gone a little south lately. Is this just a blip on the radar screen?
Yeah, more you get irked when you don't play well and you know how good you are. But so I'm not concerned because I do view it as a blip and the ebb and flow of a season. It's inevitable that you'll have some peaks and valleys. And, I heard you mention 9-9 to start, now 8-8. If those are going to be our down times, and that's, I think, and when we look up in the end, that'll be a pretty good thing. I do feel like we're getting her rolling again here. And, hopefully that starts tonight in a big way as we kick off an important homestand.
Now, today at 3 o'clock, you're going to have a press conference at Yankee Stadium to officially, it's already been officially announced, but he's going to meet the New York media for the first time. Zach Britton, this guy, 2 years ago, had one of the great seasons any reliever's ever had. Now he joins a bullpen where you legitimately have 4 guys that have closed games. What does he do for your team?
Well, excuse me. Obviously, our bullpen is one of the overwhelming strengths, I believe, of our club, and this only adds to that. And I think one thing we've seen from Zach Britton over the years is this is a guy that, as you said, has been a dominant reliever. And by all accounts, in our evaluations, had the Achilles surgery in the offseason, has come back. Ball really well. It's coming out of his hand like Zach Britton. That bowling ball sinker you always hear talked about with Zach Britton looks like it's there. The Achilles, he's moving around good, able to cover first base. So we're getting, I believe, a very healthy pitcher, and I believe even on the way up from still coming back from off-season surgery, we'll plug him in a lot of different roles, but really gives us a lot of flexibility. Not only, hopefully if we get to October and we're able to, match up with elite relievers from the middle of the game on or even early in the game on. But I think one of the things that I always concern myself with is making sure we're able to, in the course of the regular season, every day, protecting our high leverage guys. And the more you have of them, the more you can, this guy's down today. And I think that allows them to stay fresh, hopefully stronger down the stretch, and hopefully stronger if we get into October.
You've been in this game a long time. Is this the best bullpen, top to bottom, that you've ever seen?
I mean, I think that remains to be seen. I think it certainly has a chance to be with the names we have down there, with the way most of them are throwing the ball, not only right now, but for this season. But right now it's only on paper and the potential and the hope that it can be something special. Now it's upon all of us to hopefully go out and put them in a position to deliver on that promise.
Now, you said yesterday, I believe, that Chapman is still the closer. Would Britton close if Chapman's had 2 days in a row or 3 days in a row, or could it be anybody in that group?
It could be anyone, but certainly Zach would fall into that, no question. I mean, he'd be a guy that, if Chapman was down or we're staying away from him that day, you could easily plug in Zach there, as we've done with Robertson some and even Dellin. So, but I would say Zach would be a natural to plug in there.
Now, Aaron, there are a lot of conspiracy theorists out there. So the last time we saw Chapman, that's about as bad as I've ever seen him pitch. And some people are saying, Cashman's so smart, he knows that something's wrong with Chapman, that's why he got Britton. Any truth to that?
No. Honestly, none. Chappie's good. And that was just a bad outing. And he's been great all year, and excited to get him back out there. This was more about, I think, Brian kind of sizing up the market and, not having the right move available to get that high-end maybe starter, or whether we're going for a position player, whatever it may be. I think he just said, well, we're gonna add to a strength then. And, in Zach Britton, we added a special person to the strength.
I mean, we've heard the names, Aaron, Jacob deGrom, Madison Bumgarner. It just doesn't seem like they're acquirable. And everybody said, well, they've got to get a great starting pitcher. Well, if they're not available, you can't force somebody to trade them. Does this move preclude you from at least getting any kind of starter? Because you could shorten a game in a playoff? Is this the way the organization looks at it, that the starter's just not out there?
No, I don't think it. I don't think it takes us potentially still getting a starter off the table. But I agree with you in your assessment of that ace that may be out there probably isn't realistically out there. And I think one of the things we've seen with the Yankees, our organization, is, we're not just going to go out and give away the farm for just anything or just to go overpay for something. So I feel like we just went and added to a strength is really to try and reinforce what we believe is a real strength of our club.
I've asked you this before on Yes. I'll ask you here at this event. You keep looking up, and every single day the team up north doesn't lose. Does it become frustrating? Does it become worrisome? I know you can only control what you can control, but you also can see the scoreboard every day. So how do you handle the fact the Red Sox just don't lose?
Yeah, it doesn't become worrisome because it is completely. Sometimes you're like, gosh, they won again. I mean, hopefully eventually, they'll have a little stretch where they'll be down a little bit. We get to play them quite a bit more, which, hopefully we can handle our business well when we have our opportunities against them. And even though it's certainly not early anymore, the bottom line is if we can go out and handle our house and handle our business and play lights out baseball, we'll get to where we want to go, period. So, I mean, you waste your time worrying about it. When I look up and they lose, I like that. But it's, clearly out of our control, so we don't really worry about it. It's about taking care of our house. We're in a little bit of a malaise right now, this 8-8 record. We want to get that rolling in the right direction again, and that's what we are hyper-focused on where our energy is being poured.
When you look at this Yankee team this year, Aaron, they really take care of business against teams over 500. I mean, you beat up on teams over 500. Now, you're over 500 against teams under 500, but not as good a winning percentage. Do you kick yourself because of the record against the Orioles and the Rays? And you've really got to come ready to play tonight because the Royals are statistically not a good team, but these are important games.
No doubt. Yeah, I mean, these are big games that you feel like you have to have, and if we're going to get where we want to go, we got to get out and get after it and have success, especially kicking off a homestand here before we head to Fenway. So, look, I think sometimes you rack up a record, and we're playing really our best baseball of the year against some of the best teams. So I think timing has a little bit of something to do with that. I go back to the Orioles because I get that one a lot. We lost 3 out of 4 early in the season when it went haywire for like a week. Right. We had a bunch of injuries, and it was just one of those weeks early in the season. So I'd like to think that we'll correct that by the end of the season. And even though I don't gets so caught up in the record. I mean, on balance, we're in a really strong position to have a special season from a win standpoint. So how you rack up those wins, it's hard whether you're doing it against great clubs or what's viewed as mediocre or poor clubs.
Now, you came into this job having done Sunday Night Baseball for ESPN for quite a number of years. And as a media member, we just know so much. And then when you get to the position that you're in, you know things that you never thought you would know doing Sunday Night Baseball. So as the manager of this team, is there a player that has jumped up and surprised you on the Yankees that you think more than you ever thought about him now that you've managed him?
Well, one's going to be here in a little bit. He's been great. But I would say Aaron Judge. Watching him from afar last year, and when we'd come in for Sunday Night Baseball or just meeting him, I saw this obviously the rookie of the year that had an amazing season last year. This guy that just seems really nice, and just watching him the way he treats people and goes about his business. So I knew coming in that seemed like a pretty special guy, seemed like a really good player, obviously, a very good young player. I learned in short order, as I got to know him throughout spring, that this is truly a special person. He is every bit the person you perceive as far as the way he treats people, how kind he is with people, but really being behind the scenes with him, seeing what just an amazing competitor he is. Smart, tough, prepared, just a really good teammate, and I think actually a better player than I even thought.
Is there any rhyme or reason, Aaron, to the fact that his numbers are so extraordinary at Yankee Stadium and there's a big drop-off on the road?
Hopefully that kind of corrects to the norm, too. I think that is a little bit of a I mean, it's a fairly decent sample size now, but I think that'll straighten out, certainly over time and over the years. I mean, Yankee Stadium, I think, is a great ballpark for him to play in with his power the other way, and, he doesn't have to hit a ball great to ride it out to right field. But I would say there's a little bit of flukiness to the fact that there's a big disparity there.
Have you seen your reigning National League MVP be more comfortable? I mean, at one point there were 9 hits in a row. His average is up to the 280s already. He has struggled a little bit at home, and he's hit on the road. So has he come back to the norm a bit?
A little bit, and I think he definitely, as we've seen over the last month, just the consistency of the at-bats has really improved. And I think the one thing that's really impressed me about Giancarlo is first how well he's fit in here, how much he's just jumped into kind of the culture here. And, it sounds a little trite, but it really is all about winning for him. And you can see the way he goes about that. And even early on when he was having some ups and downs, he was the same. And I'd watch him closely, and there was a consistency to the way he'd go about his business, to the way he prepared, to the joy he was taking in the wins, to the way he was accepted into the clubhouse, to the way he's interacting with his players. And I think more and more over time, I think he's just got more settled in New York, more settled into Yankee Stadium, more settled into your routine of how you come in and prepare for a game, what time you go do things. Those are all, as baseball players, we're creatures of habit. And when you find that routine, usually you start to get comfortable. And we're starting to see that in a big way with the consistency of his at-bats.
All right, let's go back to the conspiracy theorist again. So you had a game on Monday that was an awful game to lose. Gary Sanchez was smack dab in the middle of it. You asked after the game, what did you think? He wasn't hustling, and you rightfully, your eyes are all over the place. You're not just watching him run out of the box. You had to look at things. So the next day, we're all waiting for Aaron Boone's first test. Is he going to suspend Gary Sanchez? Is he going to bench him? And then he gets put on the DL. And there are actually people out there that say he's not hurt. They just put him on the DL to save Aaron Boone that decision. Answer, please.
He's hurt. He has a more than a grade 1 strain of the same injury and a little residual injury of I'm not going to get too far in the woods. I don't know exactly the names of all those things, but he has a groin strain that will likely probably keep him out maybe 4 to 6 weeks, maybe sooner, hopefully.
Right.
You know, and it's something that I think in the immediate he even felt like he could play through. But I think when that tightness that he was feeling within that game the next morning, when the adrenaline of the game and all that wears off, and now you've got to go take a look at things, he's got a strain. That's a real thing.
Is it a problem for a manager? You know, players want to play, and they don't want to say they're hurt. So he said he got hurt in the first inning. He could have ended up costing you that game because of what happened in the ninth inning. I mean, it's a delicate balance to get the truth out of a player, and then a player wants to play. So how do you deal with that?
Well, I think the one thing that Gary was that night was when I went and watched. So I came in, had my press conference, and then went and watched. And you know, obviously just watching, it was something that we kind of viewed, you know, needed to be better. So before I could even go seek out Gary came into my office and kind of talked about it and was very accountable. So felt like even though he felt like he was a little tight, he still felt like he could have given the effort that was needed in that situation. So as far as guys reveal, I don't think at the time he felt like it was anything serious. Okay. And the bottom line is, as athletes, as players, there's going to be nagging things that come up all the time throughout the course of the year that you don't just run and say, oh, this feels a little weird in the third inning. This feels, you know, so you just kind of, as an athlete, you kind of battle through things. I mean, hopefully you know when you're injured. Hopefully you're seeking out the necessary treatment all the time. Hopefully we have open lines of communication that our players always feel comfortable to address whatever issues there may be from their body physically.
Let's play the what-if game. I don't know if you'll answer it. If he wasn't hurt and he ran the way he did, would he have been disciplined?
I'll leave that one alone.
Okay. And is it tough for you? Because, I mean, it became a Twitter sensation that night. Let's see what Boone does. Is he going to coddle this guy? I mean, do you hear that noise?
I don't. Okay. I don't. Look, I'm talking to my players all the time. I try and get out ahead of things that I sense could come up and become an issue or become a public issue. So most of my conversations that I have with players, because I want a strong relationship with them, you know me, I tend to be more positive. I tend to be more glass half full. But because hopefully I've developed a strong relationship, I also feel comfortable when I have to have difficult conversations with players, because hopefully I've earned their trust and their respect in the fact that they know that I care about them. So it's inevitable that you have to have difficult conversations throughout the course of the year with a number of guys. So I try and get ahead of things as best I can. In this case, it would have been handled, but it would have been handled between he and I, and we'll leave it at that.
Every person in this room, I think, would like to manage the Yankees. Am I right? So you have this great job that not many men in the history of the world have had. What's it like? Is it everything you thought it was going to be?
It's yeah, I've loved it more than I could have imagined. And the reason is who I'm surrounded with and who I get to go to work with every day. And that starts from Hal Steinbrenner down to Brian Cashman in the front office, to my coaching staff, and then ultimately to the players in our room. That I love coming to work with them every day because we have such a special group of guys that our culture is about winning. Guys are unselfish about that. And when you're in that kind of environment, genuinely, it makes it a fun place to come battle it out every day. And every day so far, I can't wait to get to the yard.
Now, one of the things that makes your job a little easier is your second baseman is back. So we're about to introduce him. How much did you miss Gleyber Torres?
A lot. Obviously with Gleyber, we knew all about Gleyber Torres in the offseason. I got to watch a lot of video on him. Obviously knew this has a chance to be a special player. Then the way he's come up and impacted our club in so many different ways, obviously offensively with big hits, the power he's shown, the defense, which hopefully does get talked about a lot, which has been really, really special, and how instinctive he is out there. But what I love about him is the way he's really able to slow the game down, like a lot of special players are able to do.
Well, why don't we bring him up? I would say right now would be the favorite for the Rookie of the Year in the American League. He's done everything that you could possibly want a player to do at the age of 21. Imagine what you were doing when you were 21. You weren't playing second base for the Yankees. Let's have a nice warm welcome for Gleyber Torres. Gleyber, I've wondered about this a lot. If you didn't get hurt last year in the minors, could you have been doing this as a 20-year-old? There you go.
Perfect.
You don't think so?
I think everything is happening for one reason, right? Last year, injury and everything, I think everything is happening for one reason, but the most important for me, I'm past the switch. I'm focused on my rehab. Try to be focused in the next year. I mean, we're ready for spring and ready for the opportunity. And now I got opportunity. Try to hold my team. Try to be focused every day and enjoy. I think is the most important. I never saw baseball outside the field. Last year, it was my first time, and I learned a lot about how I feel outside the field or how I see the game. That injury helped me a lot in be mature and take a little more experience. And nothing. And try to be focused every day. My family for sure helped me a lot. The first couple of weeks after my surgery is not that easy. It was my team and was my team's play and just was outside the field. But after that, I'm focused every day and be happy and nothing, ready for the next opportunity.
Now, spring training, you might have had a chance to make the team, and you really, really struggled. Was that because you were coming back from the surgery? Were you rusty? Were you pressing? What happened in spring training?
Really, I don't feel pressure on anything. I mean, I like play baseball hard with fans, with everything, like New York. But I think after 9 months, don't see any pictures, anything, just BP. It's not an easy hit. When coming to the home play, I feel a little bit struggle. In particular, I feel sad because I can't hit. And when the team told me I go to the minor league, I feel a little bit sad because my goal is make that thing on opening day. But I'm thinking about I don't feel ready yet. I just go to minor league, be prepared for the next opportunity, try to take more time, feel and Gleyber again, and nothing, be ready for the next opportunity.
Now, Aaron, did you get concerned when he struggled in spring training, or could you see the germination of greatness there?
Yeah, no concern at all. I just felt like he did need a little more time. And like he said, I think it was a result solely of him not playing live games for 8 or 9 months, not seeing live pitching. So I just think he really benefited from not only the spring training and getting to play in games, but also going down for the first few weeks and just kind of getting the reps and getting those at-bats going again. And obviously that was all he needed, because he's come back here and really from day one has been an impact player for us.
Now, I think you all know this story if you're Yankee fans, but Gleyber decided a while ago that he wanted to do interviews in English, and that was important to him. I took 8 years of Spanish, and I can't speak it. How tough is it to learn English? I mean, you can converse with anybody right now the way you speak, and how tough was that?
It's not that easy. I mean, hello?
Yep.
Yeah. The first couple of years. You heard?
Take one.
Hello. Okay. Yeah. The first couple of years when I was signed with the Cubs, they put English class in minor league, but I played rookie ball in short season, and I never put penetration in English. After my first full year, my second year, I go to low A, and I started play pretty well. I started interview and prospect and everything, and I saw a couple interviews. Some guys ask me a question, but I can't answer because I don't speak any English. After that, I feel super embarrassing because some coaches help me in translator. And after that, I put my mentally in learn English because my goal is playing bigly, and I wanna everybody know what I want or what I feel, express everything. And after that, I put too many focus on English. I go every day to English class, focus. I try to speak with my other teammates. Sometimes I feel embarrassing because I don't speak pretty perfect English, but nothing. I forget that. I just try to try learn every day. And after trade, I know how is the important to the players. I speak to the fans and the media, so I put a little bit more focus and speak English, and now I take it. Sometimes I feel embarrassing with some interview or something like that, but I just try to express how I feel and try to be perfect every day.
Pretty darn close. That's a lot of Latin players learn English by watching the show Friends. Did you watch Friends?
Yeah, me too.
I mean, how hot is Rachel? How's your hip? I mean, everybody's worried about you were out on the DL and you just came back on Wednesday, so how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I don't feel anything. I'm 100% right now. Yesterday, I take really good at bat, but I don't make hit. But it's the first day after 20 days, I think so. So today is another day, and I feel healthy. I feel pretty good. That is the most important for me.
Is the game as easy as you make it seem? Because you're so smooth, and at 21 years old, you're hitting in the 290s, and as I said, you could be the rookie of the year. Does it come easy to you?
Not really. I can't say it's easy. I learn every day how is the lead. I try to take experience the other players, the veteran players of the team. I saw a lot of good players from the other team, and just try to learn and just try to be mature. Sometimes I feel mad because I can't help the team in that moment, but I'm just trying to learn every day. And be enjoy. I think is my key. My personal key is enjoy, because not too many players have the opportunity to play with the Yankees, and I got the opportunity. So I work every day. I work super hard, but another thing I enjoy every day play with my teammates.
Is there anybody that Gleyber reminds you of, Aaron?
Oh man, Um, he is Gleyber.
He's Gleyber.
One of the things I love about our club is, I talk about culture a lot in our clubhouse. And, when you think about the leadership of guys like CeCe and Gardy and Didi, these are all, like, from a character standpoint, the guys you want to be the leaders of your club. And one of the things I love about Gleyber is, yeah, he's a great player between the lines, but I think he has all the makings that those guys have, and I think you're getting a glimpse of them even right here, of the kind of people that you want representing your organization, the kind of people you want influencing the players on a daily basis by the way he goes about his business. These are the conversations I have with him even sometimes about, hey, I want you to be one of the people that infect the culture that we have in our clubhouse and how important it is. As far as remind me of, I think the way he plays defense reminds me a little of Javi Baez, who obviously you know pretty well, I'm sure, and came up a little bit with the Cubs. Javi Baez has gotten a lot of notoriety initially for his defense, and now the hitting has followed this year. But the defense, the way they play, I feel like they just play at another level mentally than most of the other guys. And I've never heard so many people talk about this guy's great at making a tag. Well, Javi Baez has kind of become famous with his tags. Watch this guy's tags. The way they somehow take a ball and create time and make a play where you don't think we have a chance to get the guy out, and they somehow just by the way they use their body, by the way they allow the ball to travel to the perfect position, that's something I think he does really well that's kind of special.
Aaron, do you ever, sometimes people try to imagine things and then make them happen? In 2003, when you hit the big home run, you guys didn't win the World Series, so you never got that trip up the Canyon of Heroes. Have you imagined what it would be like?
I've dreamed of a parade my whole life, since I was a little kid. So ultimately, that's what we do this for. That's what we're chasing. And certainly when you're a Yankee, the goal is the ultimate prize, and that's what we're all working towards, and it's something that is absolutely a driving force for me.
Gleyber, is this team good enough to win the World Series this year?
Yeah, for sure. Outside the baseball and everything, we got good relationship. We are family inside the clubhouse. I think fans and all the guys don't see that. Just see Yankees play every day, but really, we are family. I think sometimes we struggle for sure, but I think it's happening in baseball every day. But I'm positive, and we are pretty good, and I think we have a chance to win the World Series.
One final thing before you could all come up and take pictures with Gleyber and Aaron. Aaron didn't just become a part of the Yankees. He's really become part of the community. He's moved his family here. I mean, they live here full time. So I'm wondering, is your commitment so strong that you will disassociate yourself from the Eagles and become a Giant fan?
No.
Are your neighbors giving you a hard time?
Not yet.
Yeah?
Not yet, but we'll see how the fall and the winter unfolds. So
you really enjoyed the Eagles? Because Aaron spent his formative years in Philly, so he became an Eagle.
Yeah, so in all honesty, I'm probably less of, as you know me a little bit, know that USC is where I went to college, and that's where I'm care a little too much about how they do, right?
Right.
That's my USC football. Whereas the Eagles, I always want them to do well, and watching them with my son and I watched the Super Bowl game at our house in Arizona, and when the clock was ticking down and they won, just growing up as a fan your whole life and not seeing them win it, to see them win it was actually a little bit of emotional. But I'm not as attached to them anymore as certainly I am with like USC.
But don't you think then that attachment should spill over to the Jets since their quarterback is Sam Darnold?
Maybe. I watch with interest. I cheer for players. Absolutely.
Watch with interest. Well, you guys have all watched with interest here. Let's have a nice warm hand for Aaron. And I will certainly tell you this. I've been so fortunate and blessed to be around the Yankee organization for 32 years, 27 as a broadcaster. The team is in great hands with Aaron Boone as the manager, and it's in great hands with this man as the second baseman. So I think we're real lucky to have both of these guys. And I know a lot of you came here, you want to get up close and personal. And Gleyber. So we'll do that. Stay seated. I don't know how we're going to do that. All right, we'll call you up by section, and then we'll do it. Remember, Yankees tonight against the Royals. That's going to be on Yes. The Michael K. Show is going to be on Yes and 98.7 ESPN. Thank you all for coming. I hope you have a great day.